Here we are in sunny South Florida, where it is raining down on us. So a few minutes late, a little traffic, a little rain on the way back from my after-school chess club for the kiddies. And just checking in to see how everyone's doing.
Server announcement.
Got a server announcement there, and ICC is here. Hello, Mr. Sandro, staying up late in Italy. So, we've got a fantastic presentation here on under promotion, which is like what a lot of us might feel like we get at work. Not me, but a lot of us. So anyway, give it a minute or two for a few people to trickle in, and happy to have made it. Not too much traffic. A lot of the snowbirds have headed north. So I guess we could start in with the presentation portion while we are waiting. But first, just a little check. Mr. Sandro, could we post the match command? And also, how are we doing with audio and video? Is everything looking okay? Yeah, I was afraid to be too late. I don't want to lose our Europeans that are already staying up for late bedtime. And the command is match / match hinchess 5 space 0. Audio is okay. Well, that's good news. Well, video is hampered by what we have to work with. That is me. But can't do much about that. If you want hot looks, Kim Kardashian has 75 million followers, I guess. Or there's the chess-related Botez sisters. Okay, so we're about 2 minutes in. Not a lot of people showing up. I guess we'll go ahead and start doing the presentation. Let's see. That guy looks like it could be up just a smidgen. And so, one of the things I really like about ICC, there's a number of things. If we go to, let's see, view, there's my games. Well, what I was really looking for is the home page. Let's see. I guess if I close this guy, we'll get the home page right there and a number of recent videos. Again, we can see historical matches with Misa Pap, Kramnik versus Topalov. That was a very bitter match. I was very happy to see Kramnik ultimately emerge victorious. Then you got Yermo on the King's Indian Defense, Part 5, which that's pretty much why I don't play the King's Indian Defense per se. I mean, I think it's important to understand those structures. Extremely important opening for hypermodern players, but there's so much good material showing players how to play against the King's Indian Defense now. And I mean, even the great Kasparov, late in his career, had to revert more heavily to the Grunfeld and other openings. Then you can see Yermo Part 4 on the Averbach. You can see Petrov, 20 endgames you must master, including some pawn endgames. It's amazing how complicated pawn endgames can be. There's moi, GM Ron W Henley, and ICC live on Twitch. That was the April 29th broadcast. Then you have Kasparov versus Kramnik and various recent articles that accompany the recent videos. Let's see, down here we have some recent tournament recaps. Okay, Yermolinsky looks at game 11 of the World Championship match, Attack with Larry C, and Yermo recaps games 9 and 10 of World Championship match, 7 and 8, and Yermo 5 and 6. So good coverage there on the most recent World Championship match. Now, one of the features that I really likes is we have action. We have practice and improve. So let's select, since we don't seem to have anyone here. Oh, Coach Connor is here. McKnights is here. Okay, if you guys want to send in a challenge, let me make sure I'm open to challenges. Let's see. Open. if you guys want to get in a couple of games, and then I got a fantastic presentation for you guys tonight, or at least
Incoming challenge.
Okay, incoming McKnights.
Incoming challenge.
Oh, and Coach Connor. Okay, first come, first serve.
Game started.
And then
server
Coach
announcement.
Connor. And we got the server announcement. What does he play against D5? I don't remember. It's been so long. Aha. Dare I play Knight F6? He ignores me. Gosh, I hate being ignored. Okay, I'll take that. I don't know. Is that too greedy? Is that the right thing to do? Now, usually in these king pawn openings, you can't really take that pawn and expect to hold on to it. It's more like you take it, and then you just suck it up and defend for a while. Maybe at some point you have to give it back. Here, though, it seems like we may have made a clean pick. It's not instantly obvious how he's going to get the pawn back, so now the more gung-ho approach there on my part would be to play D5. Okay, we'll humor him. Yeah, I'm not going to try to play D5. Well, actually there I could have played D5, but then he's still going to play like rook E1 and put pressure on my E5 pawn, so I'm just going to play a little more solidly and bank on having an extra center pawn. I don't think black has any reason to complain here. Well, besides higher taxes, higher gas prices. What was that I saw taxes went up on? Oh, my automobile tax. Yeah, that was the one. Well, let's come out here. Yeah, my automobile tax went up, it was about $60 on 370. So whatever that percentage is. So I called him. Of course, Progressive was still $500 cheaper than, that's just chill. I want to go here, but then why did I give him H3? I could go back, but I'm afraid he'll chase my bishop. If I go back, he goes there, I go there, he goes there. Why give him the bishop? Anyway, they said it was indicative of the area. That I guess during the pandemic, more problems. Thus higher taxes across the board. So it wasn't an individual thing with me. It was more of a, oh, stop that. It was more of a global issue. I don't know, if I keep playing so passively, at some point he's going to have some compensation, isn't he? Yeah, so it was more a question of how things were in our area than it was a question of, okay, let's knock that bishop out. That's one less guy pointing at my king. Okay, let's go back here. Now, does he really have much for the pawn here? He's got the knight pair, as a friend of mine would say. Yeah, if he had the c3 square, he could play knight to c3 to d5. But as it is now, well, let's give him Das Boot. Das Boot. I wanted to play there. Oh, come on. Think. Let's just play here first. Freeze those guys. I wanted to play bishop e6, but I didn't like f4. Although, I don't know. f4, e4, that is a connected pacifier. But then he would go knight d3 and get that knight to d4. At some point, I'd have to give up my bishop for it. Not what we're looking to do. So yeah, how do I get these bishops functioning, which is probably the same thing he's asking about his knights. I should take a look at the clock. Okay, we're okay on clock time for a change. Gonna take a, okay, so now he wants a5. Okay. Well, what's he really doing here? Can I go here? Yeah, if I go there, then he's got f4. What's he want? He wants a5. He's not going to get a5. Maybe he wants queen there. I don't really want to let his queen get in here. I'm going to go there. This is a test. Okay, now take, and he can't take that way because of the pawn on b3. Okay, now let's trade this guy. Okay, now he's getting some squares. Squares there. Now I got a little pressure on that c4 puppy. So now it feels pretty good. I mean, he can get the knight to c6, to a6, but it doesn't really make an impression. The reason I put the bishop on g5, aside from the fact it's got a nice diagonal, is that it stopped any pawn to f4 action. I mean, g6 is kind of a move I'd like to get in at some point, but... Okay, so he's giving up the pawn this way, but still, I'm going to pocket it. Oh, darn it. He always has tricks, this guy. Always has tricks. But I can play too. Now what's his next trick? I'm looking to just try to gain time to play pawn to g6. And that looks like that would be a pretty clear exit visa. Okay, check.
Check.
Yeah, I was going to go queen to d1. Okay, now we'll play here. Give him his walking papers. Okay. What can we do next? Pin his knight. My intuition tells me that's not the most precise move, but it'll do. He's got queen c6. Well, on queen c6, I was planning to play rook f7.
Check.
Oh, darn it. Now that's a bummer. I wanted to play rook f7 when he attacked that. He did the old frontal attack on me. I could ignore it, sack it, go there. Okay, now I'm starting to get a little too short on time. Okay, wuss out, chill out. Okay, I'm a wuss. I admit it, I'm a wuss. But, look, don't gotta go crazy when we're winning, right? Okay. I think we're good here. A little pawn fork action.
Check.
That with check. And just
White forfeits on time.
Okay, good game, sir, as usual. But yeah, that valuable center pawn in the opening. Maybe you gotta check that. You know, a lot of hard work there for 2 whole rating points. Yeah, I think I promised Coach Connor next.
Incoming
Let's
challenge.
See. Final tap chess. Are you playing Bobby McKnight? I'm not sure if that's Bobby McKnight. And the manual. Jacob says hello. Okay. And Krunks Lannister. Okay. So I did promise Coach Connor
Game started.
get in a game, and then I got a fantastic presentation for you guys tonight, I think. I'm going to play, let's play French defense. Did a video on it once. Doesn't mean I remember anything. But I did do the video. Yeah, like some of these British grandmasters. They do the video. Bam! Your complete opening system with the Cairo Khan. Okay? And then, 2 years later, how to crush the Cairo Khan. You know. And that was not a commentary on my good buddy Andrew Martin. Okay, yeah, now probably the French is not one of the best openings to play this bishop c4. Okay, this gets more and more strange, but I feel like black should be more or less okay. I'll take that, play knight f6. Okay, and not be too ambitious here. Oh wow, he's given me the bishop pair if I want it, which usually I do. Now if I play c5, I restrain d4, but then he backs the bishop up to e3. It makes more sense. Anyhow, let's go for it. Let's go for it. I feel like black has rapid, comfortable development. I got 2 pawns in the center. But I am going to have... Oh, now he's still offering to let me get this guy out. Okay, this is too much to resist. But here I was thinking about going for the early queen development, even though I know it's a little silly, just to mess him up, send his knight back. I know, this is what the center counter boys do. They put the queen on d5. I had been enticed by queen to d4. In which case, of course, he would play knight back to c3. I mean, one assumes. Yeah, queen d5 is another kettle of fish. I could beat him to the punch bowl. I could play b6 and bishop b7 and get my bishop on the long diagonal. What you think about that? Yeah, maybe. Okay, now I was going to play... Okay, so now we can see if we can try to encourage him to part with his prized bishop. Otherwise, if he doesn't want to part, also, he gets the question, well, f5, knight g3, queen back takes on g2, knight f3. That's a little dicey for my queen. Plus, he's got buku development. Okay, so now what's going on? Well, I'm not losing anything tactically here, am I? I mean, he's not like kicking me and then knight f6 double checking me or something crazy like that. Yeah, f5 was still on the table. Seems like someone must have done some system here where they advocate all this doing exactly what he's doing. Anyway, look, I'm going to get my bishop in position. How bad can it be? It is so bad. No, he's got to play a move, I think, like f3 or rook e1. But again, what's not to like for the black team here? That looks wrong. I can just play knight f3 and give him the really fugly structure. I think we've got to go for it. Unless I'm missing something on this scenario here. Because he's got to bolster that e4 knight. And it feels like he could almost be losing a pawn by force. Or by force majeure. He may get some counterplay after rook g1 at some point, but it shouldn't, I don't feel it should be sufficient, but you know, then that's me. I'm always thinking the counterplay is not sufficient. So Spinal Tap said, are you playing Bobby McKnight? That was previous game. e4 instead of queen f4 at some point. e4 instead of... Oh, McKnight's is not Bobby McKnight. I guess Bobby McKnight, wasn't that the coach at Indiana? famous for throwing a
check,
chair. Tib Mag, are you doing your presentation next or more games? To be determined, sir. Great question. Maybe after this, we'll do the presentation because it got some really good stuff for you. Now, this particular sequence that he picked, okay, I guess he has bishop takes f6 to keep from losing an extra exchange there. Wow. Okay, I'll play along. See, I was thinking pawn takes, bishop takes. I'm going to split these two rooks. But he is going to have a bailout with rook to g1, rook at h to g1, and then when I take on d1. So I don't really need that. I think I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go for development. Although I could always shut the g file down with rook g6. Actually, bishop takes f3. Then when he goes rook at h to g1 to avoid further material loss, rook g6. That would have actually been pretty sweet. Because then I'm kind of... Okay, I'm going to do it now. Boom. So he pretty much has to play a rook to g1. And then I got a pleasant choice here. I can either play king d7 or rook g6. Let's do it this way. Now, I threaten the rook on d1. I threaten this guy on f6. If he trades, good question. Originally, I'd contemplated taking toward the center, but maybe I'll take this way. That way my king can go to f7, get rid of that bishop that's a pain, and yep, then I go here, known as king f7, very good. Way to use the chess notation, Mr. Henley. Okay, and now let's start lining the bishops up for the business. Could have thrown in rook d8 first. What is your email? I have a few things to send you that you might be interested in. Tib Mag. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Pawn up. My email. Okay. No, hold on. No spams or links. Oh, tricky guy. Now if I take that one, that guy's not really the one that floats my boat. But let's just... Whoa, king... whoa. I'm trying to play on the wrong board. Let's get back on here on the board we're supposed to be playing on. Okay. Okay, looks like Coach Connor may be running out of time here. Okay, anyway, we're going to put the puppy up the board. And kind of hard to see the counterplay program here. But we got a clear plan. h4, g4 even if it's a pawn sack, and then motor deuter. Oh, he's given me that pawn. Do I want that pawn? Oh, yes, indeedy.
White coming forfeit challenge time.
Foxy openings to an unrated game of 5-0. Well, love Foxy openings. Got to play him.
Game started.
Oh, and I get white. Okay. Play the... should we play the white sniper? There's probably a video on it by someone. Okay. Let's go double fianchetto. Go hippo. How does Foxy opening have a... how does he have a 1254 rating? That seems illegal. There's a famous game with Karpov, something like this. Karpov, Brown, San Antonio. I'm not sure rook c1 was the right way. Maybe e3, knight g2. Try to get the knight to f4 that way. Okay, now pretty much got to play this way. This way? Okay, whatever. Okay, I think I caught a break there. I think knight b4 was a little more annoying. Got to cover the d3 square, no question about that. So now this... Okay, more coverage on that c3 knight, en route to hopefully one day go into f4 and the promised land on d5. Now when I say the promised land, I'm not sure exactly what's being promised, but we'll work with it. And knight b4 earlier might have exploited something I probably did wrong. Although now I kind of feel like I got what I need. Spinal Tap, I want to attempt revenge for that simul game 30 years ago. Oh my goodness, did I play in a simul? You did? Okay. Okay, now here we're supposed to lock it up, baby. But of course he's still going to try to, you know, with that kind of advance, I almost don't want a castle. I almost want to play king to f1 and allow knight g4, bishop h6, and bishop takes e3 later. Oh, here comes the counterplay. But you know what? I'm going to castle. I'm going to say I don't believe... Okay, yeah. He wants to play b5, the usual b5 business. Do we allow b5? Or do we try to clamp down on it? But then we give him the b4 square, his knight could reroute back. I'm not sure we'd be thrilled with that either. But we might gain time to play knight to f4, and then what? Oh! Here's an idea. We could attack in the center. Bam! What a novel concept, Mr. Henley. An attack on the flank gets met by a thrust in the center. Oh, you're making that up. Or did some guy Steinitz say something like that? Now that was a key point, was whether to, you would have thought take with a pawn. But if we take with a pawn, then we block our file. Okay, so very clever what he's doing here. But now, as long as we protect this, see now we have given him a backward pawn on a half-open file. So we just need a few more moves. Queen d2, rook at f to d1. The rook on f1 is not doing anything. Or maybe queen c2. But queen c2, I don't want to encourage him too much to play knight b4. If I go queen d2, is he going there on me? Part of me wants to play queen there. Where does my queen go? 306. Okay, we're still ahead on time. That's the good news. I'm not sure that I'm a fan of that move. I mean, the automatic move here for me, of course, is just play rook fd. Okay, I just play the automatic move. What's he up to? It's up to him to break out of jail. I'm not that much ahead on time anymore. Okay. Uh-oh. This jailbreak, which really feels unsound because I was thinking about going here last move. And this seems like much more favorable circumcision. I mean, circumstances. Because knight is pinned. Oh, but wait. Queen takes a2. Yeah, but what to worry? I could play queen takes b4, queen takes e2, knight e7 check, and then rook takes that thing on d8. Or on queen a2, I could just go knight e7 check, followed by queen takes that thing on d8. So he's got a couple unprotected issues here. Well, pawn takes gets me a passed pawn, but bishop takes really feels like it keeps the square open. And again, knight takes, the queen is hanging. Bishop d7, maybe bishop f7, queen takes d7 check. Oh, okay, so there. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's go this way and bring this puppy in the game. Feels like things are flowing. Notice rook d8, we have knight takes c6, maybe. He might have some in-between. No, he's no in-between stuff. Okay, I don't think this is going to be happy for him. Knight on b4 is still pinned. Ooh.
Incoming challenge.
Okay, Spinal Tap, 2650, unrated game of 5-0. I think it's a great time to do the lecture. Thank you, though, for dropping in. Soccer Dude, 845, 12-0. Now, I think we're going to go ahead and do the presentation. So one of the things that I really like about ICC is that you can go to View, you can go to actually, if we go to View, My Profile, that's where we're trying to go. Okay, so then you have General and you have Games. Okay, under Games, you have your most recent games. So, for example, the last game with Foxy Opening is right there. And the game with Coach Connor, the game with McKnights. Okay, but then you can also have your own personal game library that'll store up to 400 games. So right now, these 67 games include the previous presentations plus tonight's. Now tonight, last week we looked at some checkers, we looked at some cartwheels. The week before we looked at some monster bishops. Yeah, and then before that, a couple of sessions on checkers. Now we're going to look at under promotion. Okay, so white is going up the board, and you can see he has the usual pawn that is about to promote. And this is a study by Richter, I think around 1961. So very clever. First he plays pawn to g5 check.
Check.
Okay, black has two choices. Black takes with the bishop. If he takes with the king, then you could play the knight check on e4, take off his queen, or if he takes with the king, you could play pawn up, promote to a queen, and then try to checkmate him. For example, king up, queen check, king up, queen check, but then he runs back this way. So easy enough. If he takes with the king, the knight fork should suffice. So he takes with the bishop, and very simple example of under promotion. You get a knight, checkmate. The point of the pawn sacrifice was to deprive the king of the b4 square. Oh, Coach Goner. Oh, thank you, sir. Good game. Yep. Okay. Now, that's a pretty simple example, but nice. Okay. Now, we'll wrap that one up. And this is a small composition I made, or maybe I was shown by one of my Russian students around 2014. Anyway, white going up the board, but let's take a look. Always be aware of what your opponent's threats are and how serious they are. That'll give you a sense of timing. Well, queen takes pawn on a2 certainly qualifies as a threat. Queen to c1 checkmate qualifies as a threat. And pawn to c1 equals rook or queen. So we can see black has three serious threats. This means, ergo, white has no time for luxuries like pawn to the 8th equals queen. Therefore, you play pawn to the 8th, and you go for the knight.
Check.
That's right. Get a horse, of course. The knight puts him in check and protects the g7 rook. Notice this rook cuts him off on the 7th rank. The other rook cuts him off on the 5th rank. Therefore, the only move is king to e6.
Checkmate.
You promote once again, get another knight, and you have a 2 rook and 2 knight checkmate. Okay. Pretty simple example again. Okay, now Now, of course, under promoting to a knight, because it has powers different than the queen, is much more common. Occasionally under promotion to a rook to avoid stalemate, but probably the rarest is the under promotion to a bishop. So I believe this is a game that Ilyanov had a few years ago, and I came across it, and very much like this. In this position, if white gets a queen, black has fantastic move queen f7 check, and after queen takes queen, the g7 pawn is pinned, ergo stalemate. Same thing if white were to get a rook. A rook looks logical. If you got a rook, you would be threatening queen g8 mate, queen h8 mate. But again, if you get a rook, queen check. If you get a knight, you might could win, but it would require some moves because your queen has to guard the knight, and your queen has to guard against f7 check, and any move like g5 loosening up would allow queen f3 check mate. So the ticket here is under promote to a bishop, and after you play some random move, the point here is that you bring the bishop to the beautiful d5 square. There's no stalemate tricks, and some kind of checkmate on g8 is going to happen next. Okay, so very nice example from a real game, I believe, of under promotion to a bishop. Now, in the past, I always thought the great composers were Troitsky. Okay, of course, Samuel Lloyd from early and much more crude puzzles. Henri Rink, Troitsky's protege, Kubbel, and those are probably the four, 3 or 4 greatest composers ever. However, in recent times, I've begun to appreciate the work of Mr. Anonymous. This guy comes up with amazing stuff. Okay, so this is white to move and win. Pawns are going up the board. What to do? Any ideas here, guys? T-Big Mag. Let's see. T-Big Mag, I'm going to send you my, not sure what the status is for my hen chess email, so take that one for the moment. So here's what we do. First, we push the pawn check, we fork the black king and the rook. Now, of course, if the king takes the knight, you simply play pawn takes rook check, king takes knight, easy peasy. So, the king takes the pawn. Now, what are you going to do? He protected his knight. He's surrounding your f6 baby, but you got to do a clearance knight sacrifice.
Check.
You got to get that knight out of the way so that baby can move. Now, if he just plays king back to e6, you push the pawn anyway. So he takes the knight. Push the pawn. Now, if the rook checks, you chop it off. So he goes
check.
Bishop, knight check. Very clever. Forking your king and your valuable pawn. Well, chop it off. Now, tricky guy. He plays king takes. What to do? If you promote the pawn, he'll play rook f6 check. You got to get back the queen, and then it should be a draw. A couple h-pawns, no problem. So, but you want to win. So you play pawn to
check
for check. Now, if the king takes the pawn, you go ahead and get your queen, and you get to hold on to it. And his king is also not so well placed. So he drops his king back. He doesn't want to go back to f6 or to the f file. You'll promote with check. So he goes back to g6. And now, here's the question. If you get a queen, it's an amazing stalemate. So once again, amazing. You get a bishop. Beautiful example of domination. The rook on h6 is trapped. Absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, Mr. Anonymous, that fantastic composer, Mr. Anonymous. Absolutely beautiful. The rook is trapped. Okay, next one. Okay, those were just warm up. Here's one the black king has managed to wall himself in on h6. And it appears that stalemate is imminent. For example, if white gets a queen on a8, promotes to a queen, black will play d3, and I don't believe white can avoid stalemate next move. Pretty incredible, people that think these things up. And yet again, we see Mr. Anonymous at work here. So what to do? Well, there's only one way to keep playing. You push the pawn, promote to a knight. Okay. He pushes his pawn. Now, if you play knight takes the pawn on c7, looking to promote your next pawn, that would be stalemate. So, you must put the knight on b6 and give it away. He takes it, his only legal move. Push the pawn. He pushes. Now, once again, if you promote to a queen, he'll play pawn to b4, and I don't believe you have a way to break the stalemate. Therefore, you get a knight. He pushes his pawn. Now, how do you avoid stalemate? Again, knight takes pawn, stalemate. So you go knight to d6. He takes it. You push. He pushes. You push. Get a knight. He pushes. And once again, it is looking like stalemate. So you go knight to f6. His only legal move is to take your knight. And you push. And he pushes. And you
Checkmate.
push. And of course, naturally, you get a knight, and that is checkmate. Absolutely amazing. So what did we do? We underpromoted like 4 times. We got a knight, we got a knight, we got another knight, and then we checkmated. So, absolutely amazing. Each step of the way, the only way to avoid stalemate was to underpromote to get a knight. And then we got a knight, and then right at the end, we give that knight on f6, we free our pawn, and then we promote and checkmate. Okay. Now, 2 more that I consider absolutely amazing. And yes, once again, it's Mr. Anonymous. Well, the amazing thing about these 2, I guess it's kind of a certain composition technique where the one side has to have the whole army. Because in this case, we notice, now of course the position is probably illegal, because how could black actually get that many pawns in the center? But nonetheless, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pawns, 2 bishops, 2 knights, 2 rooks, and a queen. So black basically has the whole army, and white has 2 little itty-bitty measly pawns. But no problem. We do notice king safety. The black king is ensconced, entombed by his own pieces. So of course, you push the pawn, under promote, you get a knight. Now once you get a knight, you threaten knight to f7, checkmate. Well, the only piece on the board that can do something about that is the black queen. So she has to hustle back. Okay. Then, not only is she threatening to take your knight, she's covering the checkmate, she's even threatening to come over here and get up all in your business. So, you play knight
Check.
to 7 check. Only move to avoid the checkmate is queen takes knight. And then look at this. This is amazing. You simply push the pawn 2 squares, attack the rook. When the queen moves somewhere, pawn takes rook.
Checkmate.
Yes, as the ICC server announced, that is in fact checkmate. Absolutely amazing, the people that think these things up. Okay, and now what I consider to be the granddaddy of them all. Again, I think if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, black has the whole army, and white just has one itty-bitty pawn that's not even close to promotion. That pawn's all the way back on h2. How can this be? And by the way, this position might almost be closer to legal. We would have to count it all out to see if all these pawns could have actually captured enough white pieces and pawns to get all the way over there. But who cares about that? Well, first things first, white collects the knight. Now, if we study the position, we can see these pawns are all jammed up in a traffic jam. They can't. None of the black pawns can move. Rook on d2 can't move. Rook on g6 can't move. Bishop on h6 can't move. No, that's a3 actually. And d3 and d2. And the bishop on d1 can't move. And the remaining knight on b1 cannot move. All black can move is the queen. And now, the super important move. It's very important to remember that pawns on the first move can move 1 or 2. In this case, we move 1. And we'll see in about 13 or 14 moves why it's so important to move 1. Well, queen goes back and forth, pawn trudges up the board, queen goes back and forth, pawn trudges up the board, and queen goes back to a2, and under promote to a knight, of course. Well, queen goes back. Knight comes over. Knight comes into e5, and the knight goes back there and plucks the pawn on c5. Aha. Queen goes back. Now notice that knight takes rook on b3 would not be checkmate because there's a pawn on c4 that could capture. Okay? So, the knight has to rotate back around and pluck that pawn. Now the knight comes back, and this is why it was so important to push the pawn 1 square, because when you reach this position, black is in zigzag. If black did not have to move, he could just sit there. But because he's in zigzag, he has to move, and then you have knight takes
checkmate.
Rook, checkmate. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so I think with that, we'll take a short break, come back, and play a few more games. Absolutely phenomenal. Be
incoming
right back.
challenge.
Nezhmednov. Okay, let's go ahead and play. But first, I'm going to take a very quick 2-minute break, guys. Okay, ready for action. Nezhmednov, love that handle. I can't believe you got it. I can't believe someone else didn't take
Game
it.
started.
Now, I think he played some kind of b3. And then thumbing through the chess catalog, I saw Wesley So had a video out on b3, quote, my secret weapon. Okay, so what to do here? Well, let's do this. I don't know. One way is to play knight f6. Another is just to take the pawn. Let's just take it. Kind of a hybrid center counter, if you will. Well, I don't know if anyone ever really fianchettos the bishop. Please tell me Nezhmednov is not going to sack bishop takes f7 check. That bishop did kind of do a hesitation to get there, didn't it? Okay, a little tit-tat. I'm thinking we got to try and fight against his center before he just builds it up and crushes me. So here I'm thinking on pawn takes, I can play knight takes. It's not great, but it's reasonable. There, I thought I could play knight takes and at least try to eliminate his bishop pair. Yeah, the problem is, well, if I was Nizhmedinov, I'd want to play knight takes and knight takes. Actually, it's not so terrible. Question is, where do my rooks belong? Well, let's take a chance to put this rook here. Actually, I guess a5 was actually a move. a5 to play a4. Now that endgame is interesting if I play knight takes b3. Time. Okay, if we want to play more aggressively, let's play this. I'm not sure we want to play more aggressively, but okay. There, I was hoping I could take. Wait, is that thing poison? If I go there, then I got to go back. I might be getting in trouble if I do that. It's too bad, because I really want to do it. Okay, just chill out. I was concerned about bishop c1. I didn't have time for rook takes rook. Yeah, queen takes b2 felt a little loose once I actually got there. In which case, I'm probably going to be regretting not getting rid of the bishop pair. Oh well. That's... Ooh. Now the question is, do I want to play pawn takes pawn? Keep it simple. Keep it simple when you're doing well. Knight d4 is a nice simple move. Or so we think. Yeah, actually it does leave a pawn on c3, which leaves the file closed, but also possible pickings. As in T-Boone Pickens. Okay, never mind. You'd have to be about 40 years old and in the oil business to get that. Okay, this feels like it's losing a pizza. Overloaded queen, I think, is the penalty here. Okay, product placement. Citrus Cooler Gatorade. Even the great Magnus said, got to stay liquid. I think he was referring to water, not cash. Yes, the overloaded queen. She was guarding the d2 square, but she was also supposed to be guarding this guy. So it feels like I got rewarded for not eliminating the bishops. Well, now I think we can just, with impunity, as my good friend Robert Brieger used to say years ago. Aha!
Server announcement.
Pawn takes pawn until I notice this little
Check.
discovered attack on his queen. Looks pretty effective.
White resigns.
Okay, good game, sir. Fortunately, you didn't get off any Nizhmedinov magic against me. But let's see. McKnight wants to figure out a time to do some hand and brain thing. Yeah, that's not as easy as one might think. And also, I was wondering who Tib Mag 123 is. And you guys certainly welcome to play a game. The manual. Dang, that move was sick. Yeah, Bishop D4 check put an end to the resistance there. I had a feeling he might try to pin my bishop. But of course, you know, black already was. The key move actually in that game was knight e4. That was really the big move for black. Was right here when he played b4. And then there's no reason
Incoming
to play b4.
challenge.
Just what should he do here? Probably bishop back to e2. Yeah, get that bishop on f3. That would be reasonable. Bishop pawn to b4 is just too loosey-goosey. And then after knight e4, it's actually white that has the problems. I mean, I guess he could try some dazzle with bishop to b5. But then, of course, I could just take it. He takes with the queen. Pawn takes. Pawn takes. Rook takes a2. So, yeah, knight e4, that was the big move. It's hard to see how white is going to avoid losing material, because even if he does something with the e2 bishop, then the d2, c3, b4 complex is falling apart. So I figured at minimum I'd come out with one extra pawn, like maybe 4 to 3. Like I figured I might win the c3 pawn. He trades. We got one each on this side, and then I'll have 4 to 3 on that side. You know, which is a bit of a technical issue, but my king should be safer for a while as well. Okay.
Game started.
Good game, sir. Totally forget what you play. So, although with a name like Nizhmedinov, there's no doubt we can count on some f5 or something like this. Yeah. It kind of came back to me last minute that this is what you play. Okay, so I think we had something like this before. And it was more or less okay for you. And Bronstein talked something about there. Now I got to be careful, for example, c4, d6 is a trap. Don't want to get trapped. Okay, let's just chill. Now, I'm not claiming this is great for white either, but it's reasonable. I'll chip away at that guy.
Check.
Oh, I don't know about bishop d2, maybe. Okay, let's not be all day on this, buddy. In principle, I want to trade the dark squared bishops. In principle. Now the question is, what's he going to do with his pawn?
Server announcement.
Wow. I like it. Yeah, that's serious heads-up play there, dude. He's got these pawn rollers now. Okay, did not anticipate that. Nice play, Shakespeare. I can't even go back and chill. Probably I should have thrown in bishop h5 check. I'm not happy about this at all. Yeah, it's just attacking me like nobody's business. Oof. This does not look good. Because it's not good. That's why. Got some serious king safety issues here, Ron. This is exactly how we lose games. Mm-hmm.
Server announcement. Check.
And we're short on time to boot.
Check.
And we're short on time to boot, but who knows? Oh, I see. If I'd have taken it with the queen, he had mate and two-ski. Aha. Lucky. Yeah, trade, knight check, rook b2 mate. Nice one. The reason they call him Najmed. Woo! Oh, Lordy. Let me survive this. I promise I'll never sin again. Okay, now. Okay, we still got 30 seconds left. And maybe, just maybe the tide has turned. Hopefully he's running out of guys. And it may be my turn at bat. Just keep that C2 square covered, dude, and it'll all be good. Yeah, if I survive this, yeah, queen b3 in the opening. Not the best idea I ever had. Okay, my turn at bat.
Check.
Check. Bishop covers c2. There's no queen c2
Check.
mate.
Time warning.
Okay. Run. Run, Forrest, run. Okay, check. No. Check him here.
Check.
Check him
Check.
here.
Black forfeits on time.
Oh boy. I'm pretty sure you had me there with my king doing the Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope in the middle of the board. The manual, yes sir. This is ICC, Internet Chess Club. And they're the
Incoming
one sponsor the
challenge.
program. And if you join, you know, then you can send in a challenge. Okay, Mr. McKnight's. Whew. Very good game, Mr.
Game
Rednov. Great
started.
moves he played there. Okay, McKnight's. What can we do with this guy? A very nice move you played there, that c5. Boy, that really had me reeling. I dare say I was very lucky to dodge the bullet there. Now here, I'm thinking about bishop to g5, but that's my dark squared bishop. Why would I want to give that guy away? Anyway, I just said I was thinking about it. Didn't say I was going to do it. Oof. And I'm not totally sold on this whole knight to e4 thing that I did, but anyway, that's where we are, so let's just go with it. But now, I could feel a little mojo going. Let's play f4. Okay. Let's do what the cool kids do. Just advance, pretend like we're doing something. Okay, now if I keep going, he's got that move. If I don't do anything, well, first off, he can't do that. Let's keep his queen out. Just don't want his queen coming h4. Now let's go ahead and go for the wedgie. Now we can do this. Okay. Now we feel like we got something, but where do we go from here? go on this side. Okay, where is he going with all that? He wants to play b5. And I'm pretty much focused the other way. Very ambitious what we're doing here, playing on both sides of the board, but hey. Oh, now there's something to be said for playing b5 on this side. And then, does knight ever get? No, let's just try to keep him on lockdown. Let's play b5. Very ambitious, but... Now, which side am I trying to play on? Good question. Big choice for him. Does he take? And then if he takes, I think he can take with the a-pawn. Bishop b4 is a possible disturbance. I was thinking take this way. Might be so locked up, not possible to win. But c-pawn takes, then of course he would have d5 at some point. Oh, on the other side of the board, anyway, one feels it's easier for white than for black in this situation. Could, at some point... Okay, he wants to trade. Oh boy. Don't really want to trade. Yeah, maybe I should have clarified the pawn capture first. Aha! There's an idea. This way, because I don't want to trade. When your opponent's cramped, you do not want to trade pieces. But see, there he didn't have time for knight takes knight because I had pawn at g6, the old intermezzo. Aha! But now the problem is he's going to get to the h-file. So, it's not as clear as we had hoped. But now if he's going to commit to the h-file, then maybe I need to try to break through on the other side. I'd also had some fantasies, as long as I was controlling that side of the board, of playing bishop d1 to b3 and then some break. Now it looks like he's hunkering down on this side. If I go here, will I be able to get in? Maybe something will shake loose. Now I'm hoping here for some rook a8 or rook to a7 action. He can go bishop c8 to... Okay, so he's going for the unravel here, but I don't know where he's going with that. Even if he gets his queen over to there, I'm going to be taken on d7. What is that? Oh, I can't believe that's going to work. I'm going to take this guy. Now, he's trying to attack me from a strategically inferior position, and that's generally doomed to failure. Okay, so that's the end of his kingside attack. He didn't really have a good entry point anyway. could contemplate sacking the bishop, but, you know, why? I mean, the exchange, why bother? You just go collect some more stuff. Totally boxed in. Not to take Karpov's name in vain, but this is very reminiscent of famous Karpov Unzicker game, where totally boxed up on the king side. Well, this is just kind of hard to see who's going to stop the rain. Now, of course, bishop d6, rook g7 won another pawn, but who needs it? My dream could be realized. Let's get this puppy in the game. Holy cow, who would have thought? Get that guy in the game. Yeah, I'm just threatening to go chop, chop, and push.
Check.
There she goes. No stalemate. Okay.
Check. Check. Black incoming challenge.
Okay, good game, sir. I think I played Neshmedinov most recently, so I think we'll play these two, and we'll probably wrap it up. Had a long day, I had a class, I had an after-school club, so I think we played Neshmedinov most recently. Game
started.
Yeah, I still need a moment to catch my breath after that last game. Coach Connor, we played Cairo Khan on him, or we played French. Okay. I'll play basic e5. Basic e5. Now, one of my eldest student, most senior student, man I greatly respect, had a great suggestion and said in the skin of the program we should put the command for matching. And I think that's a great idea. I just haven't gotten to it this week, but I think it's a fantastic idea. Okay, so we got the basic 4 knights. The chess computers say you should play knight takes c4 for black. The old pawn fork trick. But, you know, tell you the truth, white do castle. And then you get that long gambit. So I prefer this. Very solid way of playing. Very strategic. Notice he defended his e4 pawn. Okay. It feels like he's going to run out and castle queenside on me. I just get the feeling. Okay. Well, now we have opposite color. What was this? They used to play something like knight d8 to e6 or something. Now that's interesting. Do I really want to play there? Let's just keep it straight. Wow. I think he probably needed to be cognizant that I was thinking to visit down here. So king d1 or pawn to c4 probably was the more prudent way to fly there. Bringing in your in-games to the program, extremely interesting. Tibmag says, well, absolutely. Okay, here, got to give him Das Boot. Das Boot. I think that wasn't that a German submarine movie or something? Das Boot. And here, going to try to cut off the escape square. I know it's being a little greedy, but he needs to play a move like Queen A3. But at what point we got called the tournament director. So the whole point of this is not so much the pawn, although I do love pawns. Me and Magnus and I love to snatch a pawn from time to time. But the whole point here, just cut off that D2 flight square. And now the Queen A1 check picks up the juice, baby. It didn't look real closely, but I don't see the escape plan for the white king here. McKnight says 5 castles and daily games on chess.com. Okay. Tibmag, I'd like to make you a long-term challenge of every game, white or black, to play the Latvian against me. Reality is much better than its rep. Oh, no doubt. But that's the case actually with a number of these gambits. And I could say a number of on-the-edge openings that I play. Not going to name which ones. But yeah, the reality is you learn them really well. And they create a lot of practical problems. And I mean, how many games has Eric Rosen won with this Stafford Gambit? Which is like totally dubious. Son of a gun, the guy found a move. Good job, sir. Just when I had the checkmate ready, dude. Oh, man. Now, of course, I could pin his knight. Well, look. Let's just say when you're ahead, you trade, okay? Flush out the king this way. 2 solid... Oh, sir, you had to take with the king. You can't occupy that square. That was your escape square.
Incoming challenge.
Sorry about that, coach. Yeah, right here. You needed, after knight takes, you needed to take with the king and flee. If I take another pawn, you'll play rook b1. You'll get it back on b7. I won't take another pawn. I'll probably castle. Look, I'm 2 pawns ahead. I'm a happy camper. But yeah, the whole point of knight d2 was to give yourself a little escape square, and that was a great move, sir. Okay, last game.
Game started.
Okay, we'll play d4. There's your Latvian gambit. Okay. So we avoided the Latvian gambit. Now, he could have gone knight f6 right there and played the rat. What would I do against the rat? I don't know. Feed it poison, I hope? I don't know. The Norwegian rat. That's right. We haven't had any ratatouille tonight. Ah, c5. Okay. Well, there is that. I'm being a little too cavalier about all this. I have a feeling there's something funky here with some knight h6 and then bishop d4 and f5 at some moment. Okay, now we're just pretty much in a Maroczy bind, which, to the truth be known, I usually have from the other side. But now that's interesting because he wants to play either bishop h6 or knight to g4. Well, you know what? I'm going to play here. Ron, that's known as pawn to f3. Okay. It's also probably known as a mistake, dummy. Maybe I needed to play h3. I have a feeling h3 was the right move. Okay, I may have gotten away with something there. This little h-pawn is annoying. I think, who's the guy from Germany? Chess Made Easy? No. What's his name? I think he had the great phrase for it. See, now the knight on e5 is hard to get rid of. Because if I go f4, then he's got g4. If I go h3, then he's got these squares. He called that a thorn pawn, and I think that's a great term for it. Well, let's say we go this way. Dang, bam. What you think of that? Not much. Okay. Okay. Now at this point, I'm kind of daring him a bit. And he's right to accept it. wasn't totally prepared for that. Okay, think. That's what you've been doing and not getting anywhere, dude. Okay, end time.
Check. 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 Check.
Just get this
Check.
guy out of here. Get the guy, take the money and run. Right? Wasn't that a Woody Allen movie, Take the Money and Run?
Check.
Okay, watch out. Knight d5. Some counterplay. Let's just get this guy back here. Let's go here. Showing we really don't know what we're doing. Well, we'll get there eventually. Well, got to reduce that to one guy. Blockade. As Nimzovich said, passed pawn is a criminal, must be kept under lock and key. In these situations, I like to kill their hope. Once I take that passed pawn, that usually kills their hope.
Black resigns.
Oh, another good game, sir. Not sure about this c5, knight f5, but it looked like that was a good way to fight for the initiative. Maybe I lose a pawn temporarily, but at least I get the 2 bishops, so plus your king. Teabag says something about knight f6. Yeah, right, on 2 moves. That on move 2, that would be Norwegian rat. Okay, thank everyone for playing tonight. Thanks to ICC for sponsoring, hanging out, and having us back week after week. And we will be back here next week, 6 to 7:30, and look forward to seeing as many of you guys as can make it. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Type raid Twitch name. Okay, type. Oh, and also make sure you visit McKnight's. He has an excellent stream, and sometimes I drop in there to visit him. No, not me. I'm not live. Oh, okay. Anyway, work that out later, and thank everyone for showing up and playing and participating and contributing. Have a great one, and we'll see you next week.